Right in the center of my veggie patch, there's this hole with a plain white PVC pipe poking about 4 inches above the soil, topped by a basic plastic cap. My neighbors think I've gone nuts. My fellow gardeners quit prying after some time, but here's the secret they all miss. That drab, ordinary-looking pipe cranks out the world's priciest fertilizer daily, for nothing, right at my plant's roots, without me doing a thing. Forget flipping compost heaps, lugging fertilizer sacks from the store, spreading it out, measuring doses, or sticking to a calendar. It's simply a pipe buried in the dirt, part of a setup so ancient, refined, and ruthlessly effective that the fertilizer business has worked for decades to keep it off your radar. Folks figure composting means giving stuff up. You give up yard space for a bulky bin. You plug your nose each time you lift the cover. You burn your Saturday flipping, blending, and waiting. Then you still haul the stuff to your plants. But what if the whole process was flawed from the start? What if somebody cracked a method for the planet to handle every phase out of sight, underground on nature's clock? That's precisely what this pipe pulls off. Once you grasp the biology, making it tick, you'll never eye a fertilizer bag the same. This isn't fresh thinking. It's among Earth's oldest farming tricks, intentionally shoved aside around mid-20th century. The Aztecs had it down. Way before fake fertilizers, Mesoamerican societies grasped that earthworms powered their dirt from below. They left them alone, didn't shift them around. They designed fields to let scraps rot right in the ground, so worms could work their magic as always. Fast forward to the 1880s. A reserved, fixated British researcher devoted his final 4 decades to earthworms. He was Charles Darwin, famed for evolution, yet he ranked his thick tome on worm habits and soil overhaul as a career highlight. He demonstrated beyond doubt that earthworms build rich soil, not downpours or sun, making them the true soil shapers. That insight didn't vanish. It got sidelined. Post-World War II, ammo factories retooled for nitrogen fertilizers, flipping agriculture from living soil life to chemical fixes overnight. From nurturing ecosystems to swapping them with lab-made stuff. The push was for farmers and later backyard growers to think nutrients came in bags, not the earth itself. So, worms faded from view. Not due to bad data, but because the facts didn't suit folks peddling product year after year. What he established and the industry dodged is why my garden pipe delivers, and the inner workings are odder and sharper than you'd guess. Earthworms lack eyes or ears, but they've got something better for our goal. Hypersensitive chemical sensors across every inch of their skin. They read their surroundings mostly via soil's wetness and chemtrails, decomposing organics. That's their strongest lure. Toss in a banana skin or coffee grounds through that PVC pipe, snap the lid shut, and breakdown kicks off fast. Bacteria shred it, pumping out key vapors through the pipe's drilled holes into the nearby dirt. Those seep through soil moisture like a stealthy radio wave, and every worm nearby picks it up, heading straight over. No aimless stroll. This is precise. Soil studies confirm they track food sense with shark-like focus, chasing gradients underground. The pipe turns into a hub, a steady buffet, drawing worms from way past your bed's borders. They slip in via the holes, chow down in the tube, then crucially, head out. They slip back out those identical openings and roam across your full root zone, breaking down organic matter along the way, loosening the earth via every burrow they dig, and dropping their poop, scientists' term for it is castings, in an ongoing path straight through the spot where your plant roots are busily expanding. That's the beauty of this setup. The pipe doesn't trap the nutrients. Instead, it creates a pull that spreads them throughout your bed via the worm's own travels. You're not making a compost container. You're constructing a worm superhighway featuring a fixed pit stop at its core. And what these worms deposit in your dirt is stuff no fertilizer brand wants you calculating on your own. Let's crunch the numbers now. Worm castings, the official name for worm poop, go for $15 to $30 per small 5-liter bag at typical garden shops. If you've grabbed one and checked the label, you know it's pitched as top shelf and near luxury plant food. Yet the cost reveals only part of it. The key question is what justifies that premium, and it's something chemical fertilizers can never match. Regular synthetic ones revolve around the 3 figures on every package: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the NPK formula. They supply those in a water-soluble, quick-hit form that saturates the soil, sparks a brief growth surge in the plant, then washes out with the next rain. Plants get a rush, then crave more. That's intentional, a cycle of reliance. Worm castings operate by a whole other logic. Their nutrients sit encased in a slow-release biostructure, releasing to roots bit by bit as the plant draws them based on its needs, not in one big dump. But past NPK castings pack what no lab-made fertilizer has nailed. They're loaded with helpful microbes like bacteria and fungi that link up symbiotically with plant roots. They hold natural growth boosters, auxins and cytokinins, that prompt faster root growth and better stress tolerance. They include humic acids that enhance soil texture, letting sandy ground hold water better and heavy soils loosen up. A 2011 study in applied soil ecology showed that even tiny amounts of worm castings in potting mixes beat synthetic fertilizers for seed sprouting and young plant vigor. It's not merely feeding, it's a dialogue between the castings' microbes and the roots, and your pipe is producing this stuff for free, right in the root-hungry zone. The underground plant is humming. You just need to switch it on. Time to assemble it. The supplies are ridiculously basic, which explains why folks brainwashed into thinking real gardening demands pricey gear overlook it. Grab a single piece of PVC pipe, 4 to 6 inches across is ideal, or a lidded plastic bucket from any hardware store for pennies. Size counts for having room to store decent organic scraps without daily top-ups, but not so big that breakdown inside lags from low microbe numbers. Bury it with about 2/3 underground and 4 in poking above as your feed chute. For average backyard beds, 18 to 24-inch pipe or bucket fits great. That positions the base where soil stays damper and worms thrive most, usually 10 to 16 inches deep by climate. Drill holes first. Grab a regular drill and 1/2 to 3/4 inch bit. Punch them over the bottom 2/3, spaced 2 to 3 inches apart, in a random pattern, circling the whole thing. This isn't a screen. It's an open-door network for worms to flow in and out every which way. More portals mean more worm flow. More flow means castings spread farther. For the pipe's base, pick your approach. Cap-free. Let's worms climb up from underneath, and let's breakdown juices seep into the soil below, towing dissolved nutrients along. Alternatively, you could loosely cover the bottom with mesh or landscape fabric. This keeps bigger debris from blocking the base, but still lets worms slip through. Either method does the job well. The uncapped bottom is easier to set up and a bit better for getting worms in and out. Place the pipe right in the middle of your planting bed if possible. That way, you extend its reach as far as it can go, so earthworms heading out from the feeding area weave through the roots of the most plants before dropping off their castings. With the pipe buried and the lid secured, your setup is ready to go. Success hinges entirely on how you feed it, though. Folks often nail it from the start or pick up little habits that sabotage the operation without them realizing. The guideline is straightforward, but understanding why it works is key. Pretty much any uncooked kitchen scraps are a fair game. Veggie and fruit trimmings, banana skins, apple cores, limp greens from salad, coffee grounds, tea bags minus staples, smashed eggshells, modest portions of plain cooked rice or pasta, plus ripped up cardboard or newspaper to manage wetness. These break down at a pace earthworms can keep up with, sending steady chemical cues through the dirt to hold your worm crew close to the pipe. Just as crucial is avoiding the wrong stuff. Meat, fish, and dairy break down via bacteria that crank out ammonia compounds, high levels that actually drive earthworms away instead of drawing them in. Oily cooked dishes, saucy meals, or heavily spiced foods are off limits too. Too much citrus rind spikes the acidity and throws off the microbes in the chamber. And scraps from pesticide or herbicide-treated items, even some store-bought produce, can bring in toxins that damage the worms you're aiming to boost. Stick to fresh, plant-only inputs with no contaminants, and the setup stays balanced on its own. How often you add food can vary. Aim for every couple of days to keep decomposition humming along steadily, though it can handle a week or longer between feeds without failing. Any earthworms that wander off during downtime come back once things pick up again. Treat the pipe as a fixture in your bed, not some fragile gadget that quits if you skip around. You'll spot it thriving after a few weeks when worm castings pile up noticeably in the chamber. The dirt right around the pipe turns richer and looser compared to the rest, and the nearest plants start thriving way ahead of the pack in ways that baffle outsiders. The biggest slip-up is dumping in too much too fast, outpacing the microbe's ability to handle it. If lifting the lid hits you with a sharp, nasty odor instead of that good, loamy, fungal scent from solid breakdown, cut back on additions and toss in some dry cardboard or dead leaves to fix the carbon-nitrogen mix. This whole operation churns out benefits deep below ground quietly, using only the waste you were tossing anyway. And that's the sort of insight big industries have long hoped you'd miss. A free, endless supply of top-tier fertilizer from kitchen bits powered by 500-million-year-old biology. It wrecks the sales pitch for every product pushing you to buy plant food. Economics, not plots, keep this under wraps. A method to revive utterly dead, packed-down barren soil in less than 60 days, using only scraps that folks normally toss in the trash. Skip the tilling and any store-bought fixes. Let biology do its job the natural way it always has. You definitely don't want to skip that. If this eye-opener on the secret strength of earthworms has shifted how you see your garden, hit subscribe and give it a thumbs up. We're exposing the farming history and bio-secrets that big industry wanted to hide. Together, let's build a more independent tomorrow. Your garden's next big leap is dropping soon.